You're listening to Music Tectonics.
Welcome back to Music Tectonics, where we go beneath the surface of music and tech to find where innovation is breaking out. I'm Trista Newyear-Yeager, Director of Strategy at Rock Paper Scissors, the music tech PR firm. We're wrapping up our conversations with the latest winners of Midemlab, an international music tech startup competition that showcases innovative solutions to help the music industry build new consumer experiences. If you missed part one, you can find it in all past episodes at musictectonics.com/podcast, or look for it on your favorite podcast platform. In today's episode, Dmitri Vietze interviews Daniel Morrow and Wayne Yardley of Rippla, who won in the music distribution and discovery category. Then, Dmitri chats with Gordon Midwood, CEO of Anything World, winner of the Live Music Experiences category at Midemlab. Take it away, Dmitri.
Awesome. We are back with our Midemlab winner roundup here. Today we've got the folks that won from Rippla, and we thought it would be great for you to get to know them. We've got Wayne Yardley, who's the founder of Rippla, and Daniel Morrow, production director of Rippla. Do I have that right, Daniel?
Yeah, and co-founder if we want to get specific.
Let's get specific. Awesome. Well, great to have you guys on today. How are you doing?
Really good, thank you.
Yep, all good.
Good. Well, Wayne, tell us about Rippla. What do you do?
Cool. Yes, so Rippla, we broadcast live and exclusive music performances around the globe. So our initial sort of venture was always with venues, and it became a sort of understanding of the touring circuit in music and how do we kind of reach places that don't kind of get to see the huge tours that come through different towns and cities. So we sort of echoed the National Film Theatre, National Opera model, where you'd film a band and then you project them into different venue spaces across different lands. That's how Rippla was born. Obviously, through the COVID pandemic, most venues shut down, and venue became an interesting concept in terms of, is it online, is it offline? Then this whole hybrid world becomes present. So we sort of ventured into both sides of that, really.
That's cool. So did it existed before the pandemic?
Yeah, so for us, we did initially start with the idea of taking a band, filming them, and then projecting them into many different venue spaces. So we sort of different iterations of that idea. We kind of had several gigs that we put on ourselves, and we sold those gigs out, filmed them, and put them into different venues. They went on to work with Violin Records and Mumford and Sons. And with that particular show, I think we put it in 10 venues around the UK, and I think it was 21 countries that went to 11 countries and 25 cities. And the London venues were oversubscribed by over 1,000%, which was crazy. So from that point, we understood that people wanted exclusive access and were happy to go out and see content that they weren't able to get hold of.
It's a lot more social than just watching on your screen at home, I guess.
You've read our pitch deck. Yeah.
No, I'm just reacting to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's something we felt. We all come from the music industry. I played in a band for years, and you tour up in the UK, you tour up and down the M1, and you miss all of the little pockets and little areas. I'm from a small town in Kent where nothing comes through, except Fugazi, weirdly, played in Whitstable Town Hall, which was the weirdest thing because there were never any bands. Fun. So it's just that sense of, if you're in those pockets, what would be really cool to see? And if you have some exclusive content in your local venue or cinema, then that's a really cool, exciting thing for people in those places.
So how did you get from being in a band touring to Rippla? What else was in your background that got you there?
That's an interesting question. How did I get there? So I started off, I used to work at the BBC for a while, and I also worked in documentary filmmaking for a period of time. So both of those things were sort of what I kind of ran around doing as part of my life for the largest period. And I also just played music. And so when I was in the band, we eventually, we played all of the places that you play, as a band growing up. And we went from the smallest dive bars when we ended up playing like at the O2 and different arenas and going on tour and doing those huge things. But all the while, I still had the sort of, how does it work if you can't tour here, if you can't tour there, and had my kind of fingers in the filming pies of, music videos and bits and pieces. So that side of it always remained. So when I left the band, it was just, looking at, I think live streaming was sort of becoming something. And, that kind of space within music videos, live streaming, where was that heading? Touring models all started to just kind of fit into one sort of like idea, really, which was good to chat through with Dan and our co-founder Ricky, because they're all from that industry, so they understand kind of where I was coming from, I think.
Got it. Well, Dan, speaking of which, what's your personal background and how did you get into this?
Yeah, also stemming from music and being a performer and playing in, I played in all the most terrible dive bars and just never really went further than that. But it was still many different venues of different types, and really that's sort of a great place to start, because you can see what can be done better and differently, and the scope of that. I also helped write a guidebook on music venues in New York, worked in many venues as a sound engineer, so all that kind of venue backgrounds, a little bit of event stuff as well. But I then went on to start co-founded a virtual reality company, and that sort of gave me a whole new angle on events online, and sort of it's also a good background, for when we started looking during the pandemic of how to make this stuff work. We shouldn't really be allowed to say the word metaverse anymore, but let's face it, that's where we're headed, and that sort of world, and sort of seeing how events can work and meet, the same kind of concept online as offline, which is, as you said, people meeting and coming together to watch something is way more exciting, and that fan engagement angle. So background in that world was super helpful as well.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you bring up the metaverse thing, because you guys are talking about, like, when you come to a digital and a hybrid experience, where is there, right? Where's the space? Where's the place? Where are people gathering? We've spent the last, 15, 20 years creating these non-visible or non-tactile spaces. And now, since you guys have even, had some more concerts or streams into venues, there's even more conversation about like these digital spaces that are coming into being. So it's really interesting that you bring that up. And speaking of which, Midemlab was digital. It was live streamed this year as well. Wayne, how was the Midemlab experience for you overall?
Yeah, it was initially just fantastic to be a part of it. To get on the program was really exciting. And then straight away, the caliber of people that were involved, from obviously the mentors and people just on that side of advice giving and jumping into different meetings and all along was just quite incredible. And the caliber of the kind of cohort as well, just the other people involved in it. It's just super exciting, because you'd see straight away the different areas that music, as a business is brilliant at disrupting, and you see just quite how remarkable and how stretched a lot of those kind of companies take an idea, like how far that they move with something so quickly. So, just even from that experience, you bounce from, we're like, oh, the metaverse, and then you bounce into Web 3.0, and you're just thinking, okay, everything moves at such a pace. So it was really good to get to grips with how companies were operating and how they were dealing with that moving pace, and just what they were coming up with. To get to sit in that arena and discuss it with people was just brilliant.
It's great that you had such a good experience. I've been to the Midemlab in person and get to kind of observe it from there. In fact, we launched the Music Tectonics podcast at a Midem.
Cool.
so a few years ago and interviewed everybody like this, except in person because we were all there. It's great that you had such a good experience, even with that translation onto the live stream experience. So we got a little bit about the kind of the approach and the model. You guys, the Midemlab experience. How far along is Rippla, Daniel? Where do you guys sit in terms of the trajectory and the development of what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, we've come a long way, and you know, I'm still really glad to be able to when I look back on who we work with, you know, Mumford and Sons, Keen, the National, and then recently the Smile, the new Tom York, Johnny Greenwood project. You know, that's really great for us to you know, to show that how far along we've come, and that's, you know, that's something that we're really proud of, and we want to keep working with these top caliber artists as we move forward. And so there's a lot that's been developed on that side, and then on the venue side, this recent project has really shown that our network is really come a long way. You know, we can now broadcast to over 1,000 venues very easily, and there's a really nice combination there of movie theatres, cinemas, and independent venues, music venues, unique venues. So we really like the development that side's taking, and then on the sort of online metaverse side, you know, we've had a really great team that's helped us sort of execute some of the ideas, and show, you know, at least the concepts of where we're going with some of those concepts. So that's sort of like in development, but we have some really strong ideas of where we want it to go. But that side's still kind of work in progress, and it kind of, you know, it does help for us to have these live projects where we get a chance to actually try some of these things and present them and see what's working, what isn't. So it's a really exciting time for us.
Awesome. What do you see happening in the coming year? What can we look for from Rippla next?
I would say in the coming year, we're definitely looking at, as I say, you know, some of these larger acts, carrying on to put those into as many venues so that fans can go, you know, and watch together. That's still our major core business model, alongside making that work online as well. And over the next few months, you're going to see how that journey looks for the Rippla audience person, for the Rippla fan, to be able to sort of have that engagement online and offline, and that's where we're headed.
It's going to be so interesting to see where things go because of all these different models for the live experience and digital versus in person. And you know, right now we're at this moment that was different even than when you guys were pitching at Midemlab, where it's like, well, now Omicron is over, quote, end quote. I don't know. Haven't heard about any other variants. There's a lot of, you know, fights to end mask mandates. And, obviously, that's going to lead to different experiences in live too. Hopefully, I hope we're past it, but who knows? But we'll, you know, certainly there are going to be some people who continue the long tail of not wanting to be out in public as well. So it's just such an interesting thing. And you know, even with our Music Tectonics conference, which we do in LA in October, you know, we went online for the last 2 years, but this year we're planning to be in person in October, and hoping that everyone comes along for the ride, you know?
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think, like Dan mentioned there, the kind of audience participation is just the whole deal, isn't it? So, you know, for all the people that can't arrive in one space, but want to participate in some way, it's gives you that sort of that hybrid edge, I suppose, that allows you to, as organizers or event organizers, to look at both sides of that and be inclusive to global audiences, rather than just being in sort of like one event space. And we're certainly, for us, we know that in music, fan activation and just the importance of fans is kind of really sort of where we're trying to experiment and test the most, just to deliver what we think is more kind of just allows a fan to have a more kind of personal and intense experience with exclusive kind of content. that sounded weirder than it meant to sound, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're getting into that territory of sort of like where are things going to go and what the variety of the experiences can be. And some of it's going to be based on what happened before the pandemic, but some of it's not because of the pandemic. And some of it's not because time has passed and, you know, technology has changed. People's expectations have changed. People's habits have changed, and so forth. And Wayne, that actually leads me to one thing we like to do on the podcast is sort of like project out into the future. And I'm curious, what are some of your industry projections for things that you expect to see in music innovation in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, I think you know, just moving probably into Web 3.0 and just trying to understand what that really means, trying to understand what the metaverse means for music. It's super exciting. I think that there's the sense that your traditional kind of marketing of an album or how you'd release as an act, I think you're gonna, you know, your tent poles will kind of now include versions of live gigs that end up in a metaverse space that are going to be played out for people that like X genre. As an audience, I think you're just going to be given more kind of content to enjoy. You're probably going to be able to see kind of glimpses of bands in different kind of guises that you wouldn't have seen before. I just think there's going to be the community aspect of coming together is a real kind of key thing. Obviously, if you go to a gig and you go with friends, but there are other people there, you don't probably tend to chat to the other people that are at the live gig. But if you move that onto the online side and the metaverse, you start chatting to people randomly, whoever at a gig that you're sharing this cool experience with. So there's just kind of, that kind of social kind of interaction between audiences and fan bases, I think is going to be quite key in terms of how people kind of connect those communities together and how they really encourage those communities to engage in a kind of, an artist's gig or an artist tour or a chat. I think that's sort of where we see it heading. But.
Yeah, can't wait to see what happens as things open up again too. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like I don't know, like freedom maybe again or something. But also with lots of new tools in place.
Yeah, I mean that's it as well, isn't it? You kind of you wonder, is there like we're looking at a sort of companion app to the live gigs that exist in the terms of, you know, if you're traveling to something that's in a physical venue. We can carry along on a second screen a whole experience that can add to that, and vice versa. If you're, you know, watching something online, for however that may be, we'll just have that community kind of by your side in a different sort of sense as well. So, but yeah, we're, you know, and also who knows, right? That's the other thing. Who knows what is going to happen when you know, everything opens back up again.
Speaking of who knows, you were at Midemlab just this last fall, and between the time that you won and the time that we're talking, Midem announced that it's not going to happen in 2022, and its future's kind of in question. What do you think about that news, Wayne? That's kind of a shocker.
Yeah, that really was. It was. Where did that come from? We're not entirely sure. It was something that was kind of, obviously quite sad to hear, because we were so pleased to be a part of Midem, and for us, you know, to win was incredible. And as I said, mentioned before, the caliber of the bands, the other what do we talk?
Startups.
Thank you. That were there were just, we were very surprised with our win. So for us, it was just, you know, this is obviously a very well put together organization that runs a very integral part of music. Like it was so incredible to be a part of it. So it's kind of very surprising. I don't really know the history fully, and I wasn't really aware of the fact that anything like that may occur. But I hope that it kind of reignites in some other shape or form.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's talk about that too. The city of Cannes was talking about taking it over. But yeah, I always liked going there and meeting with folks and watching I really liked the Midemlab. Honestly, the competition was one of the best parts of Midem for me as well. But to carry on with the band metaphor, which I don't know if that was just a little startup band confusion or whether you actually meant it. But I remember when I was a little kid, my older brother talking about, I think it was a band, the English Beat. I don't know if you know that band, saying something like they broke up at the high point. That's
Right.
what you should do as a band. Like you put out a great album and then break up. So at least you guys won on that kind of note, right?
That's true.
There can be nothing that comes later. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it would have been good to be there in person, but we couldn't. And then we were there, on the live stream. Now we can't be there at all. But that's. We'll see what happens.
It speaks to sometimes you can't go to these places, right? Sometimes the band doesn't come through your town, so you create new opportunities.
That's the
deal. So it's all full circle. It's actually kind of a perfect metaphor, really. Hey, Wayne, Daniel, congrats on the win at Midemlab. Congrats on your success. You're working with great bands, great venues. Excited to see where things go with Rippla. Thanks for coming on the Music Tectonics podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Stick around after the break for another Midemlab winning project, Anything World with Gordon Midwood. Calling all music tech startups, our next seismic activity event invites you to ask an expert. On Wednesday, February 23rd, we're bringing on Kim Han, an expert in entertainment law with the firm Shepherd, Mullen, Richter, and Hampton LLP. What have you always wanted to ask an attorney? Get answers on anything from licensing to working with PROs to investment strategy. Join us for this free online event and learn more about the legal pitfalls music tech startup founders need to watch out for. Like all our events, this Q&A will be fun and interactive. I mean, seriously, what could be more fun than talking about PROs and licensing and all that stuff? No, I mean that. Be ready to network in the chat and get on camera to be part of the discussion. That's Wednesday, February 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. Register for the event and learn more about the Seismic Activity Series at musictectonics.com. Now, back to Dmitri.
Now I've got with me another winner from Midemlab. This is in the live music experiences category. The winner was Anything World, and we have their CEO and CTO, Gordon Midwood, with us here today. Gordon, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Dmitri. So excited to chat to you.
Yeah, great to have you here too. Where are you right now?
So I'm in between London and the sea, close to London in the UK.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So let's jump right in. Tell us about Anything World. What does the company offer?
So Anything World is a platform that allows everybody to be a 3D content creator. What we want to do is democratize 3D content creation to make it sound kind of noble, but basically bring the tools of creating 3D worlds, living 3D worlds into everybody's hands. And we do that by taking static 3D models and bringing them to life using machine learning. But the end result of that is anybody can create 3D worlds with code, with text, or even with their voice.
Wow. So wait, if I create like a little beast, a little animal or something, what do I do with it then?
Whatever you want, really. So yeah, you can. Yeah, this is like normally for the end, but if you go to anything.world, you can download a plugin and try us out in Unity straight away, and you can use your voice to say, make an underwater world, add 50 octopuses and 12 sharks, and it will create them in front of your eyes, and they'll flock, they'll move naturally, and then you can adapt that for your needs. So we have a lot of people in the live music space. We have a lot of people in casual games, like building out 3D scenes super quickly and easily.
And are they using it for like AR assets to put into filters, into games, things like that?
Yeah, exactly that kind of thing. So right now, we're quite well suited to casual games, filters, as you say. There's a music filter coming out in the next couple of weeks on Snap, which we're super excited about, where you use your voice to transport yourself into a different era. I shouldn't say too much because it's not been announced yet, and I don't want to give too many clues away, but it's super exciting and very relevant to this conversation. But yeah, we have exactly that kind of stuff going on where, people making social filters, casual games, browser-based 3D apps. Some of them are voice controlled, some of them aren't, because you don't have to use voice to create living 3D worlds with our system. But yeah, exactly that kind of thing.
And so your primary users are developers.
Yeah, we are B2B2C in business language, but yeah, developers and creators, 3D content creators for sure. So
okay, got it.
People can save like 40% of the time and cost of making a 3D app by using us, but you can also to give you too much of a sales pitch. You can also create
No, it's
limitless
fine.
worlds, which is what I'm most excited about. Myself, my co-founder said we made indie games. We made like one of the first Unity games on PlayStation 3, we made PS4 games, mobile games, and was always a bit of a constriction. How many 3D models can we get built? We have to pay someone external, and then we can't change them. But with this, like even at runtime, you can add whatever you like into the mix and build out kind of emergent gaming systems that sometimes break in comedy ways. But it's very interesting to have that kind of freedom.
Oh, that's super cool. So are people paying per asset, or are they paying by a subscription, or?
Yeah, so we have subscription fees at the moment. So yeah, we do like a Unity way, subscription based on the organization revenue is how we do it at the moment.
Okay, very cool. So what's your personal background? How did you get in this? You started to talk about these games. Is that you? Were you making games?
Yeah, so yeah, I've always loved video games, and I worked at EA for a few months many years ago, and then I left and started to make independent games. So I've been making games for myself for many years, like over 20 years, to be honest. Flash games is what I started with. And then I made a very early iPhone game called Liltline, which was a minimal dubstep rhythm racing game back when dubstep wasn't horrifically out of fashion. It was a London group, very like a hardcore London group called 16-bit. And I loved the music. And it was just kind of, I've always been interested in rhythm games, so it's a passion. And then I met Seb and we created the world's first underwater papercraft video game. All these games are ridiculous, so if it seems confusing and slightly hallucinogenic, that's
It's supposed to be.
That's natural. Don't worry. Don't feel. You should feel confused right now, basically. And we made a driving game about racing on multiple tracks at the same time together.
Whoa.
So we always have these like wild game ideas.
That's so cool.
He's super visual. He's a street artist by the name of Ronzo, and his visual skills are like second to none. And he makes these beautiful characters. And so as a team, I was the more geeky, game design person. So that's how we got started, and that's what we love to do. And then, like I say, like producing 3D content, 3D models and animations for our games was always a pain in the ass, to be honest. So with the rise of things like Sketchfab and Google Poly that's now dead, we thought, what if we can take all these assets, bring them to life, and let anybody use them at any time?
How did you guys meet? Did you grow up together, or you met through gaming, or?
No, it sounds like we grew up together. We do act like a married couple. To myself, if he was here, we would be bickering already. We've known each other for about 15 years. We met in a technology agency in London, just doing some like work for Red Bull and people like that.
Got it. So how was your Midemlab experience?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, we've been aware of Midemlab for a few years now, and the quality of startups there is crazy. And there's so much innovation in the music space that it's exciting just to be connected to these people and talk to them. And yeah, we were very lucky to win, but it could have been any of the others because they're all so strong.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you're in the live music experience category. Yeah. Tell us a little more about the Music Connection.
Yeah, so Warner Music invested in us almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. They were the lead investor in our pre-seed round just after we finished Techstars. We met them on Techstars London program. We met Tiago there, and he's a super cool guy, if you know Tiago, very supportive, and we just saw the potential of the technology from the start. We made them a demo of an app called Sing and Play, where you sing along to Warner Music tracks, and it's visualized. If you sing with the right pitch and tone, you get 3D objects around your face in a kind of TikTok-y vibe there. They're working on that still now. And that's like a really cool thing that we were passionate about. And then, with the lockdowns and everything, it became kind of hyper relevant. And Warner Music, as you probably know, invested in Roblox, invested in Dapper Labs. So Tiago and Warner, they're quite forward thinking in terms of, how does music play out in these 3D worlds that we're going to inhabit? So it was a natural fit for us, and he's a super nice guy. So that's how it came about. And then, yeah.
It's so interesting to me that you refer to it as 3D worlds, and I understand that's where you came from, but I keep thinking it's like tools for AR. Like it just, to me, I don't know what the distinction is there, but to me, it's like, oh, this looks like something you layer on top of the real world as opposed to, but I guess it could be used either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3D content on top of the real world. I guess that's augmented reality, isn't it? Or it's 3D content within games that are not transposed on reality, or virtual reality where you're transformed into a different reality, or mixed reality when that properly comes, when Apple bring out their glasses or Facebook bring out their secret glasses, Snap already in that game. So yeah, I guess these terms all blend together, but yeah. And gaming's obviously very strong as well. Live concert experiences, virtual concert experiences I call it 3D worlds because I feel like that's a general term that other people call it, of course, the metaverse, or versions of the same.
Yeah, it's all overlapping, right? Yeah. So how far along is Anything World as a company?
So we've been going for about 2 years now. We've been available in public beta for just over a year. We have about just over 4,000 creators building out stuff in Unity, mainly casual games, lots of music experiences, as you know, and social filters. But the bulk are in casual games. And yeah, we've just completed a little prototype for Roblox, which we're going to show them this month, which we're super excited about. And yeah, we're bringing up the quality of our animations and doing automated rigging, which generates skeletons, bones, and weights for things that should be treated in that way, so we can bring up the animation quality, and coming to Unreal next year. So a bit of a babble, but we're doing well. We've got lots of creators in the casual game space in particular, but we're upping the quality and coming to different platforms right now. That's where we're.
And are you now cash flow positive? Are you raising more money?
We're not cash flow positive. We're a startup. That's not what to be expected.
Not yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's early days for us. But yeah, we're not currently raising, but we will be next year probably.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So what can we, speaking of next year, what else can we expect from you guys coming down the road? What's kind of on the roadmap for you?
Yeah, so we've got some really cool use cases in the pipeline. So a big part of this year has been getting those user numbers up, talking to creators and developers, getting them onto the platform, showing them what we can do at like trade shows like Develop Brighton was a good one for us here in the UK a couple of months back. Yeah, so building up those user numbers and getting cool use cases built on the platform. So you can expect to see a lot of cool stuff built on Anything World coming along next year. And yeah, coming to Roblox, coming to Unreal, upping the quality of what we can do. We expect that when we bring in traditional rigging, we'll address a whole new audience of people who right now might think it's not suitable to their needs because we're not high end enough. So we can, and once we start producing content of that, like we can come to AA, AAA games, even real-time filmmaking. Anywhere that 3D content is being created, we feel like we can disrupt it and make it easier. So yeah, it's exciting times for us. So basically taking over the world for next year. That's the next.
Awesome. Are there games out there already that we can see that have the mark of Anything World, or it's still early for that?
Yeah, there are indeed. There's a couple from Warner Music, one for Pink Sweats, one for Ashnico. I can send you the links of those. There's a couple of casual games as well. Project Noah's Ark was done by Spilt Milk Studio and some students here. And yeah,
are these app games, app store games, or?
Yeah, one's an itch game, so PC and Mac, and two of those are browser based, and yeah, we have a couple of demos, mobile ones as well. Yeah, so
awesome, fun. We'll if you can send those over, we'll put them in the show notes for people to check out to see what it looks like. So here, let's widen out a little bit, Gordon. What are your industry projections for things that you're expecting, say, in 2022 in the whole music innovation space?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would expect, the convergence of music and 3D worlds or AR worlds, any kind of mixed reality worlds to continue. And I would expect, and we're seeing it all the time, aren't we? With, music investing in 3D worlds.
And when you talk about that, what kinds of things are we talking about? What does that look like when it comes to fruition?
Yeah, obviously, I guess the two hot topics at the moment are NFTs in particular and this notion of a metaverse. So I would expect that to like power on and to see more, 3D NFTs and generation of like procedural 3D content as NFTs in combination with artists and, whole new 3D worlds cropping up branded in an artist's style or platforms, companies like Universal Warner bringing out platforms where, you can experience the different worlds of their artists and get to like touch their IP, but also own a piece of it, own a piece of land, style it how you want, share it, building up fan communities in these alternative worlds. I think there's a lot that's coming with, the metaverse and NFTs combined in the music space. And that's not even thinking about, live music and things like the Wave and all the cool stuff they're doing, live music experiences as well, especially if we're getting hit by a new tidal wave of COVID. That live music experience is going to be, virtual music experience is going to be even more important too.
Yeah, as you talk about it, it makes me think like almost the role that music videos played for music. You'll have these kind of interactive, experiential things that will play that role. People don't need to make a music video when you basically are the music video as a fan.
Yeah, for sure. And the customizing, like with Anything Well, we've been working on a few prototypes where you can, experience live music virtually and then customize your 3D environment to view it. So you can, have a different stage. You can fill up your environment with what you like, and then you can share it with your friends. And then have a live view on something, a different live view on the same live content experience. It's very interesting to like remix that and, have all these windows into different people's customized views of a concert that they've styled according to their taste, according to what they want. So that's super interesting. For sure.
It's like build your own club, right?
Yeah, build your own club and then see other people's clubs at the same time or flip between clubs. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's so funny as the whole digital collectibles things was starting to explode. At our Music Tectonics conference, we had a session on how to make digital collectibles interoperable because it seems like that was like a limitation of, you can watch this one video or a GIF or see this art on this one platform, but to really make it part of your identity, you kind of have to carry it across from one experience to another. But I in a way, like, I'm like, oh, well, what's the digital equivalent of wearing a concert t-shirt? And you're like, no, what's the digital equivalent of you get to style the club, you get to style the entire experience. And then fans there's a social experience of where you get to share it, not just one object, but you literally are sharing the whole world that you've created with a little bit of a music, whatever the concert or the musical asset is there as part of kind of the soundtrack or the experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm slightly biased because anything world's slightly more suited to that than anything in custom avatar. I think both are important. So people like Ready Player Me are doing like really cool work with avatars. Their stuff's got. In fact, we're working on a game with them that's hasn't yet been announced, but we're announcing now. But it's coming out probably next month with a big artist, and it's going to be super cool. The idea there is you use their tech, take a snap of your face, generate your own avatar, and then play through like a dynamic anything world generated environment. So like the combinations of our two techs in this little mobile app is really cool.
That's
and
awesome.
Maybe a sign of things to come, because you're going to need, a representation of you to put in all these virtual spaces, but you're also going to need to generate living worlds or be playful or UGC. So I think it's all valid for sure. And as you say, like at the moment, it's kind of like different spaces. You might go to the Wave to experience a live concert. You might go and play in Fortnite. You might go to Roblox. It's not one thing. So the interoperability of your experiences or bringing your records of what you're doing or your avatars or environments between these different platforms, I guess, is important in the short, medium term.
It's just interesting how from your perspective, me listening to your perspective of having this machine that can generate these 3D objects just shifts the whole concept of, rather than like, how do you make this one thing go here, there? Instead, it's like, we've got all these things, we can put them everywhere, and it just kind of shifts what it makes you think about what the possibility. It's disruptive in the sense that you start thinking about creating environments rather than creating objects in existing environments. Which is pretty cool. Yeah,
sure. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, and I guess like we're part of a wider trend of machine learning, empowering easy creation. Whether that's you, I don't know, talking to Alexa to buy something, or your Google typing out your email for you. All these machine learning, like very heavy technical things in the background, making it easy for people to create stuff, and we're that 3D world. So
super cool. All right, well, this has been a blast dipping in to see who you are now that you've won that Midemlab. Unfortunately, in the midst of producing this episode, we got the news that Midem's not going to happen in 2022. Initially, it made it sound like it's gone forever. Now there's talks about the city of Cannes maybe taking on the brand or something like that. What do you think about this news happening with Midem, at least not happening in 2022?
Yeah, very sad. Really very sad. I guess it's another COVID casualty. But yeah, Midemlab has been amazing, and the caliber of people there is just incredible. So. As I said, we won, but anybody could have won, and I'm not even sure we're worthy winners. Consider who we're up against. So it would be a real shame for it to go completely, for sure. And we have to keep it going in some form. And
Midemlab, I've gone in person to several of them, and it really is a good vibe. I mean, the international aspect of it, but also the quality of people they're recruiting, the diversity of different. I mean, like I wouldn't even think of you guys as a music company, honestly, and here you are, but with this overlap with music, and it was just, and then also the advisors, the crew of people they put around the startups to have conversations, super cool. So hopefully something will come through. I'm sure everyone involved will still be doing something in this mix. Gordon, it's so great to have this quick snapshot of what Anything World is up to. Again, say the URL.
It's anything.world. And if you're in any way interested in creating 3D worlds, go and visit anything.world or Google anything world. We'll come up as a top result because we've got a weird name. And you can download our plugin for free and start playing with stuff, start even creating with your voice. I would love for you to do that and get your feedback on what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, it's been great to have you on the show. Look forward to running into in person or the metaverse sometime soon.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much, Dmitri. Thanks for having us.
All right. See ya. Thanks for listening to Music Tectonics. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We have new episodes for you every week. Did you know you can dig deeper into all our episodes with the show notes at musictectonics.com. While you're there, look for the latest about our annual conference, sign up for our newsletter to get updates, or get the Music Tectonics app for music tech news. Everything we do explores seismic shifts that shake up music and technology the way the Earth's tectonic plates cause quakes and make mountains. Connect with Music Tectonics on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And find me, Dmitri Vietze, if you can spell it, on LinkedIn. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Music Tectonics.